Freeman. Bump. Da, 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 da. Good evening, Sojourners! We're good. Alright, cool. Let me just get to the channel so I can put this out here. And we're back. My channel. Bunk. Copy link. Paste. Tweet it out. Joined by Brony, Inspector, and Buttons. I almost said and loli. I am clearly not in my right mind right now. I'm terribly sorry about that.
Is this a good idea?
Oh,
even a good idea?
Yeah, no, this is.
I'm not angry. I'm just literally like, I don't know.
I just.
So hateful.
Hello, hateful. So basically, Buttons was getting really rational about this, and I felt cornered. And I was like, you know what? I'd rather fucking have this in stream, so I'm not misquoted later. And if I screw up, then let the world see it. That's how I feel about this.
Let the world burn me.
Yes, let's go with this. So you were saying, Buttons, once more from the top here.
I was saying that usually 9 times Lolicon is already known to be illegal. There was a guy,
and there's also places where it's legal in states. So yes, go ahead.
I'm saying is I don't understand why you are indifferent morally instead of just being outright against it when it's clearly child pornography. Yes, it's drawn, but at the same time, if someone wants to draw pornography or something, it's just because they are into that.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Leo.
Act something out in real life.
The gang's all here.
But you're stating those states as absolute as opposed to because it's not in all the full states. That's why I don't have to bother with it since there isn't a unified consensus. And I'll say this, as I said before earlier in the call, did not give up the mic yet. I stated, look, if it were to get banned in all 50 states, I would not shed a tear. I would not lose a day's sleep. I would be Nito Mosquito if I were arguing with Leo, which I'll probably repeat this tonight. If he turned to me and said, I would like to get rid of the exception to the obscenity law where if it's art, it's okay. That'd be fine too, with the understanding that if the government tries to go further after freedom of expression after that point, that we all get on the same page. But I have no problem with that being plucked from the vine. But since it's already cool in certain places, then let it be cool there. If basically, look, if you want to, if you were to hand me a petition to get it banned across the United States, sure, fuck it, I'll sign. Am I going to sit here and go after people? Am I going to specifically go after people for being weird? No, not at all.
Lolicon isn't weird, pedophilic.
Hold on.
I think he was using being weird. Okay, go on.
Okay, real quick, I am sorry. I had to come here for a little bit with my hat in hand. I kind of goofed.
Yeah.
And I apparently have another obligation tonight. Is there any way we can do this on Thursday night?
Well, you know what? I guess we could reschedule or some shit like that. That's fine. Yeah, no.
I mean, I am terribly sorry.
No, Leo. You know what? Okay, yeah, okay. Let me just make that.
Not the lolly stream. That was the backbone of this week's
no.
podcast.
Hold on. Well, the thing is, I told Creepy I would do it this week, and I still intend to. And I know it kind of seems like I'm probably blue balling people, but it's not my intention.
Leo, you Thursday. We'll see. No, that's you're perfectly fine, Leo. Don't worry about it. I'm not really upset about this. And besides, there's plenty of vicar and fucking vitriol that we'll have in this call now. And if you need to,
let's get a little hype going around this. Why not?
I can hear that, but
yeah,
I can't really in this call right now. But
if you got to go, Leo, I got it. It's fine.
But I will warn you, the last time that we talked about lolly or anything related to it in Sheldon's stream, we got bombarded by a whole bunch of lolly lovers who were making a complete mess of everything. So just get ready for that if it happens.
This sounds
no, FNGO is going to get downvotes. Oh no, please help me from the downvotes. Yeah.
It's going to be great for the algorithm, I promise you.
I don't give a shit at all. Yeah, but that's, yeah. But my whole thought is here, Buttons. Clearly, like I said when I was talking with Leo, and he originally sent me to go take a look at Faith Maluminous's like moderator or editor or whatever the fuck it was. And the guy had younger characters, like really young, like kids. And I was like, okay, that's wrong and fucked up. But if your average weeb has, your average anime waifu, which is typically 15, 16, yeah, is it wrong? Yeah, but it's also part of that whole thing, man. Fucking the characters are drawn to be sexualized. I'd put that mostly on the fucking goddamn whole thing. If you're able to ban and outlaw that, which will be really tricky to do, I imagine, wouldn't you have to just throw out most anime? Like, how would you even...
I was about to say, was that like that drawing, that fan art on the Humble Bundle website yesterday? Like, is Humble Bundle in trouble now because they this charitable group who got you a good deal on video games? Like, are they promoting loli now because that anime girl hugging their mascot?
My concern here to either Buttons or Leo, and yes, I do find their clever amusement in that. If you guys are starting to come off as PETA, I would excuse myself from that side. If you're with us or against us, that's probably where my concern...
I'm not saying with us or against us. I'm just concerned that it's not outright detestment for Lolicon and it's indifference.
Okay,
that does sound specifically like you're fucking wrong, and I'm gonna raise my voice and I'm gonna have this scowl and concern.
Okay, real quick before I bail out of here because I got stuff to do.
Okay.
My issue isn't with if it's just like a picture of a girl or a little girl, that's fine. My issue is the aspect of it. Secondly, I'm not commenting specifically on the topic itself, but I do find it funny. The "with me" or "against me" quote is always used by villains, but it originates in the words of Jesus, and that just amuses me.
Yeah. We're always trying to demonize the word of our Lord, of course.
All right, you know what? I didn't.
I'm not trying to demonize. If there's a picture of a little
because
girl,
we certainly have never had villains that were able to turn scripture against what it was kindly true content. Yes,
never. But I've got to fail, so you guys have fun.
Oh yeah, no, cool. Gotcha there.
Later, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good one.
I'm not. All right.
Yeah. Again, here's the whole gist. Anybody who wants to start seeking out to their local state representative who would like to actually turn the wheels and attempt to try and put forward legislation, aka practical application of your ideals, as opposed to just ranting and raving like a lunatic online.
I did put an effort. I called the police on someone and got someone's Discord shut down.
Should I call my state rep's office right now and just be like, "Afternoon, Sojourner. I'm concerned about some drawn content on the internet, and I would like to know what your stance is on it."
It's called Lolicon.
Well,
are you familiar with Lolicon?
Yeah, here's the whole gist. I've actually worked for my state representative, or at least volunteered twice. Volunteered because they didn't want to say I worked, even though I've told them specifically that I put that on applications. They talked about giving. They worried about child safety. My question is, do you think that most politicians would see it that way, or do you think that politicians would be, politicians about it and then be like, oh, it's kind of a gray area? Because I think that's what most people do. I could be entirely wrong. I could be absolutely butt-fucking wrong about that. I have no fucking idea. I don't think that most people are concerned with it. Again, if someone gave me a piece of paper to sign off or give me an electronic signature where we could push something through, I understand. Yeah, you got a Discord shut down. That's cool. That's neat. Considering how Discord's rules are set up right now.
I didn't just get the server shut down. I also got his entire account banned.
Okay. It's
awesome.
But the counter argument to that is it's getting a little bit more easier and easier to get people kicked off of Discord for other things. But whatever. That's fine.
Police involved to do it.
Okay.
Remember, it's because I called the police.
Did he get arrested? Okay, so no, he didn't. To the best of your knowledge.
The police called on him.
So what was it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. But
okay.
Go ahead, Hateful.
So I think it was one point made in Rika's video is that there was a study done. I think it was done. I think in either early 2000s or somewhere between the 80s and 90s. In Czechoslovakia, or sorry, the Czech Republic, and it was basically a study done about certain artistic material, let's just say a porn magazine or just porn, magazines in general are banned in the country, and the trend is supposed to show that the amount of sexually or just regular crimes aren't really affected about what what kind of material is banned.
I believe the title of the report was Pornography and Sex Crimes in the Czech Republic.
Yes, that is correct, by Joseph Sovakova.
Which was published online November 30th of 2010.
Yes.
All right, cool. So I'm looking at this thing right now. This is okay, they started the study. They started conducting research for this study all the way back to 1981.
Link?
Yeah, no, the link should be in the video.
Oh yeah, link. Got it.
And is it okay, wrong room. Sorry, I misclicked. There we go, I'm back.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay, so voice text chat, thank you. Just so I have something for people to look at. Bunk, 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 scrolling down. And
were you putting in voice chat?
No, I clicked the wrong thing. So
this thing Hateful steered us to.
Okay, so it says Pacific Center for Sex and Society. Milton Diamond, Eva Jovanovic, and Peter Weiss. Keywords: pornography, rape, child sex abuse, internet sex crimes, and murder. So continuing on, you guys have
yes. The problem I had was I don't really know what the correlation is of crimes involving the internet, if you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if they included that in their study. I know that I went over it, and it was mostly like a general summary of their findings from the article. I don't really remember it mentioning, that these, whether it's non-sexually related crimes or sexually related crimes, included, crimes on the internet.
Oh, right. So perhaps these people just moved online, and we don't have actual data to say one thing one way or the other.
Sure, and I was bringing this up with Sheldon. I was like, does it include a trend of, like, the inception of the internet in this country? You get what I'm saying?
Noticing, like, post access to wireless networks. Is there another trend in the data around that we're overlooking? Good question. I don't know. Because like 2007, at post 2007, there's just like, it's almost at an all-time low.
Yeah. And then like the second point, I'll let you continue from this point, Anthony, is that, the difference between actual child porn and Lolicon is that no child was, affected sexually, like in real life. If we were to find out that like some of these panels were based on like legit, like photos that someone had taken of a child and used it as a referential piece, then definitely that would be something that we could do to, get a conviction, obviously. But other than that, that's another one of his points, is that Lolicon doesn't really harm children in the process of making it. So
I had a counterpoint to that, if I could get to there in a real quick. What's his name? Thorax mentioned when he talked to, I think it was Zausch, when they mentioned, why do you have these child models here? He said he needed them to draw the younger characters for Cub. The pictures themselves, I believe, weren't pornographic. I don't know. It's been a while.
Right, and like I said, unless we find unless we find out that an actual child was like harmed or manipulated sexually in the making of this content, then definitely there would be a problem.
We have proof that this kind of thing has happened, actually. There was a YouTuber recently named Cristalli who would ask his fans for, his children fans, knowing they were children, for pornographic pictures of themselves to draw them.
Draw me! I'm gonna draw you as an anime girl. I got. Oh wow! Subs for boobs
sexual.
Again. Really?
And they were very sexual pictures.
Okay.
And on top of that, Lolicon in Japanese literally translates to child pornography.
I thought it was female and underage.
It literally translates to child pornography.
Well, if it literally translated to that, then what did Shotokan translate to, since you literally gave a definition for a gender term? I think your literal thing... I'm arguing a minor nitpick here, but I'm pretty sure you're askew here. Yeah.
I mean, both are bad.
No, yeah, no, they... Okay, so let's put it this way. I'm going to lump them all together, with the only difference being is that there's somewhat of a cultural difference. The cub, Lolicon, full.
It is a portmanteau of the words Lolita and complex.
Lolicon, sexual attract. All right, Lolicon, sexual attraction to young girls, an individual fixated on young, generally pubescent girls, erotic or suggestive art depicting prepubescent females.
Right, but we were talking about derivation of the word a second ago, and now we're talking about like just a definition of the concept.
All right, so I'm going to try and get this point across to you, Button, so you can understand. For example, when I've said that you've gotten in debates with people from Barrel, publicly, to win, all you have to do is be slightly less of a faggot than your opposition. That's it. And then most people on the outside would be like, oh, these people are the douchebags. Here's the better person in the situation. Whether that's fair or not, that's really the way the world works. And if the side that's anti-Lolicon can come off as less abrasive than those who are embracing it, all you have to do is be less obnoxious than a guy who's on the front fucking line. And the minute you stop being that way, I'm going to stop listening to you. Yeah. When you start shoving your opinion down my throat harder than Digi is, that's all you have to not do.
Yeah. Shit, what was I going to say? I mean, I believe that one of the... Because here's the thing, Anthony. Like I said, going back to just, like, combining the two tags of Shota and Lolly, like, I know that prior to us doing the stream, I actually wanted to look up, like, the numbers and the analytics of, like, how much content on these sites have these tags, and it was really quite astounding. I know that some of the sites was in, like, the 100,000s range of just, like, combining the two tags together. It was crazy.
It's not an unstandard tag.
Yeah, but it's like, I'll give you an example, like on N hentai, it's like the third highest tag, or like the third most popular tag on their site. It's crazy.
What are the first two?
And if you're, I believe it was group and big breasts.
Okay.
And then if you put the number of tags with Shota, it will become number 1.
Okay.
Oh yeah, we were talking about this before, about adding up the tags.
There are certain I had this discussion with Brony Inspector where he said that there's certain tags that don't work in the search engine.
Right. Yeah, but I came to both of you guys about this subject because I was telling you.
When you call it N hentai, I always know it as E hentai. But yeah, I'm not shocked at all, and I don't know anybody who would be, for a lack of me being belligerent, anyone other than a normie who would be shocked by that at this point.
Well, I'll definitely say that E has, artwork sexually depicting, characters of children cartoons who are also children, but they're just, they've gotten rid of the tag, or they've, removed, from what I can tell, most of the Lolicon.
Now, this is one of those questions I had where basically when people talk about 2D depictions of drawn characters, does that mean if they make the artwork 3D that the person's automatically doing something illegal?
No, but 3D, I think it's still on a screen.
Okay, yeah, no, I'm just I remember when I was younger and I was wondering about that myself, and just as I got older, I was like, oh, I'm probably being pedantic or whatever the term here is.
Right, it's still on a screen. That's 2D.
Okay.
Right, and one of the arguments I made to Rika when we actually had him on stream, and this was, the first one, because we actually did 2. Like, the first one was his actual video on the topic, and then the second one was just, like, looking into what people have been saying about him on the internet. But when we had him on, he said, yeah, my definition of what is considered artistic, the main aspect about it is it's transformative, basically.
Okay.
And then the second being it conveys values.
Well, that's like, that's some community college level art class stuff.
Right, right. And so when I challenged him on this, I said, and this is supposed to be the second thing that separates CP from Lolicon. And I said, so if someone was to get footage of them fucking a child and they put a filter or they put text on it, or they just reverse the proportions
mirrored
of it,
the image or inverted the colors.
That is, would you agree that's technically transformative? And I'm not saying that, I'm saying this to challenge his definition, if you get what I'm saying. You know, because this is his objective definition of art that we're talking about. We're not talking about the dictionary's definition of art.
Okay. I can't speak to his definition of art, but Spoken Mind has a point here that's kind of interesting. What about people like Shadman who draw child porn of non-anime fiction? I literally believe I said I kind of lump Loli, Shota, Full, and Cub pretty much again, with the only exception being is it's somewhat of a cultural thing in Japan, but it's pretty much I'd say for legal purposes.
Cultural?
Somewhat. I said somewhat. It's hey, look.
We're selling a lifestyle.
Okay, fine. Look, yeah, hey, look. I'm not a weeaboo, and if I am, I'm certainly not to that level. But yeah, what are my thoughts on that? It's certainly just as judgeable as all the rest. I'd put Shadman's work as fucking just the same as any other fucking artist in that case. When I say I don't really want to judge it, I also don't want to go after fucking artists. Now, do I think that Shadman is a poor, starving artist who needs to do everything in his power to get paid and money and shit like that? No, I think Shadman probably could stand to clean up his act and he would be still well fed. I think Shadman could stand to rein it in a bit. I think he would survive legislation where he's like, okay, you can't draw anymore from this point. Yeah, I've seen his artwork. I've seen his artwork retweeted on Twitter.
Right, and like, there's 2 points I wanted to make about that real quick. Buttons, you can go ahead.
And like, if there's someone who's a commission artist, they can still draw other stuff that isn't children. Like they have every way of being able to say, I will not draw that. A lot of artists.
I get that too, but I also understand that there have been times where artists have been down on their luck. And truth of the matter is, we could always sit there and say, you could have done this, this, and this. If an artist somewhere along the lines made some bad life decisions and that was how they were going to pay the rent or eat that month, and it's happened on occasion, I don't want to be the person to fucking goddamn sit there and wag my finger at them.
Well, or just like, let's take it another step further. Like, let's say it didn't happen on occasion, it happened a couple times, but suddenly this became your thing, and now you had a way to pay the bills. Yeah. Like, a lot of people have jobs that they get good at that they're like, yeah, it's just kind of what I do.
Yeah, let's look at it this way. For example, when I looked up Crunchyroll, they had one of the tags is Lolicon. If we're going to sit there and judge that, then okay, then why isn't that entire organization, barred or banned? If bigger companies can get away with shit like this, then why can't the individual? Not saying it's not disgusting. There are tons of things that I would find disgusting. I'm a boring, stuffy Catholic. I think you guys would be probably very bothered and annoyed to hear what I would consider disgusting.
You would all hate me.
You would all hate me. Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I would make all of you feel like dirty people who need to go take a shower right now.
Yes.
Right. So yeah, the 2 points that I wanted to make is a point that Leo made in the Z Guy of Psy call was when we were dissecting his favorites, and he was making the point where it's like when Z Guy was like saying, well, between like the volume of like this content that you find sexualizing children versus the volume of everything else that isn't, it doesn't really prove your trend that I'm a pedophile. And Leo says that if the percentage is below 1%, or even if it's just 1% or it's above 0%, that's not right. I know that like when I showed you guys like the Murky Pie Google Doc I had compiled.
Yeah.
Remember that artist who said, "Help me find my Lolicon, so I can clean up my reputation." Like I said, my motivation was mostly don't make that a public issue. If you're the artist,
do your own legwork, bro.
And you know what? I reached out and I was willing to talk to that guy, and I was going to be open-minded. He opted to pass, and I was like, "That's fine. Look, I'm not the hentai police," and I've said that several damn times to different people. I've consistently said that over and over again. I usually
Anthony, the hentai police are a world-class law enforcement organization. Yeah. There's no way guys like us could ever make the cut.
Jesus, but look. If there were such a fucking organization in the government that started offering me money, would I go my principles and start burying these people? Paid me enough.
Yeah.
Paid me enough.
Joined the bureau.
Paid me enough.
I'm with the Federal Bureau of Hentai and Furry Crap.
Right, and like I was pointing out when I was showing you guys the doc, I was like saying, yes, this is Lolicon, yes, it is sexualizing children, and it's, you know, it's being very brutal. It's not really normalizing it, as most people say is the issue with Lolicon, is it's making the sexualization of children normal. And I'm saying, well, I mean, this art is mostly, to me, it's a cry for help, or it's somewhere in between a cry for help and projecting their trauma, I guess you could say. And in my, you know, subjective case, I'm saying, I don't think that's healthy, basically, you know.
Oh, well, what porn is really healthy?
Right, exactly. Right. It's like, yeah, I try not to look at any of it.
I'll be honest with you.
Honestly,
yeah. As a guy, as a gentleman with a penis, if you can call it that, me being a gentleman. But yeah, well, the whole point here is that guys will say, "Oh, I had to go look at that." You wanted to look at porn. I don't think anyone really believes, unless you're just trying to bullshit yourself, that any of that is healthy. But if you're into porn, I mean, fuck, I'm not going to lie and say I don't look at porn. You kidding me?
Right. No, I'm not saying that any of it is healthy. I'm just saying the fact that this person is either doing it because his commissioners are like, I just need some artwork of just them fighting back, or just saying, this isn't healthy, this isn't appropriate. I'm like, I don't really. I think either you or those people need to get some help.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying, Anthony. I'm not saying that there's any porn that exists out there that, if anyone was to fap to it, I would not consider them of a healthy mindset.
I guess if I wanted to be super fucking goddamn liberal about that, I guess you and your wife.
Wait, what did you say? I missed that part.
I said, I guess if I wanted to be really milquetoast, you and your significant other.
Well, that's between what me and her want to do in bed.
Yeah. Well, you're saving it for the one day where they get sick or something like that, I suppose. I don't know. I'm just trying to really fucking bend over backwards to have a
kind of a stretch at this point.
Yeah, well, yeah. But I'm being pedantic again, I guess. So let's see. You had any further points there, Buttons? Since I feel like we had a bit more heat at the beginning of this. Like, yeah, I don't really feel like going. I wouldn't want to, because here's the whole thing. If I start judging anyone who's like, all your waifus better be 18, that would imply that it's some. Yeah, that would imply that I have the time in my schedule to go through someone's waifu folder, each and every person, and going, oh no, or I had it brought to my attention after I said no. Oh, you have to cut this person off. You have to cut. Not going to do that. Nope.
No,
nope. Not only am I not going to do that, I'm not going to have someone tell me to do that.
Get that. I'm saying, like, if you know someone is drawing someone you know as a child, I would drop someone from my life if I knew someone. Like, if I knew this character, like, say, Bubbles from the Powerpuff Girls, really, really young, we all can establish she's in, like, fucking kindergarten. If I knew someone was drawing sexual art of her and that she looked like the age she is in the show, I would drop them immediately. I'm not.
You know, if we screw up, like, you know, the hentai police are just, like, in the cruiser, and I'm like, you know, Anthony's
I'm not gonna yell at someone because they're not gonna listen. They're not.
So here's
Anthony. Here's like, they're gonna have you age checking waifu folders if you screw this case up.
Yeah, no. Hold it. Here's the other thing about that. You're picking something like that where it's usually not that open and closed check case. Where basically, what's that one weird lizard motherfucker who was accused of, like, dating a girl who was underage?
The one...
He was an orbiter or some shit like that.
I actually can't fucking remember his
But you know who I'm talking about, though, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, the Kimball guy.
Yeah, usually you're using Powerpuff Girls, which, one, the artwork is ugly, I stand behind that. Two, the character is like 5. If someone fucking goddamn, like, I don't know, they drew a character who was like 16, 17, why, I wouldn't recommend it myself. Am I going to cut them off immediately? Probably not. I'm going to probably fucking tell you that's a really dumb, stupid idea. When you get caught and you get made fun of, that's going to be something, that's a boat you're going to have to ride.
Okay.
Yeah. If he's not doing anything to any kids or some shit like that, yeah, I might even sit there and say, I'll make fun of you too. Well, considering Step, I think you're on the same page as Buttons here, from the way I understand it. So, yeah, unless you're just looking to be a penis. Unless you're just being like your boy Carlton. What's his name? The black-white guy?
Yeah, Carlton.
Weebus. There we go.
Oh, Weebus.
Yes.
There we go.
Uncle Tom. Anyways.
The
Tommy boy.
Oreo, correct?
Yes, the Oreo cracker.
the Oreo zebra.
Anyways, I will talk to you guys later.
Yes.
Having a group meeting right now.
Okay.
I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.
All right.
All
Good.
right.
Godspeed. Bunk.
I understand, like...
Tell you what, you know what, for this instance, Step, would you like to come along for this debate? Because I'm cool with fucking goddamn having to go with this for a while. Hey man, I'm just here for some laughs and pony fun time. Well, it's not even really the pony... I've dabbled into it a bit here. We were getting heated with me and Buttons, and I was like, I'd rather have it out in open so I don't sit there and say I get misquoted later. If I say something stupid, it's out in public, and then I have to eat it.
No, like, because that would have been one of those things where you had just been like, Buttons, we talked about this morning. I felt I was completely reasonable. And then, like, everyone would be like, sure you were, Anthony. He's like, no, I'm streaming this one. I am being reasonable. Like,
Dude.
This is hands to God. That's exactly what happened.
I'm a very passionate person against, due to things. I'm just very passionate against anything that sexualizes children in any manner. I'm just biased with that. I'm not gonna force people.
Again,
to
if you'd like to sit there and try and start researching your local legislature or your state legislature or your federal legislature and try and take those steps to sit there and move this forward, that would be a bit more productive than really having an argument online. You could start to that'd be a really cool project to do, and I would probably support that, and I would probably push those videos through. But what I don't wish to do is to turn it into a social interaction where I feel that that's going to amount to anything. It would take an insane amount of effort. Oh yeah, it's about almost 12 here. Yeah, it would take a lot of effort. It would piss people off. It would use energy that I'd rather... Yeah, I know you're still in school. It would... I don't see the payoff to it. It wouldn't be productive. It wouldn't help or protect anyone. And it wouldn't achieve anything other than I'd come off as preachy and ignorant.
Okay.
Yeah.
I could try to talk to...
That's instead of spinning our circles here around and round, where I do kind of agree, or at least you know what, we've already seen that whole argument taken to its hugest conclusion, which was when Tommy C said he contacted the FBI about Digibro. That didn't get Digi thrown in jail, now did it? So what that tells me, what you saying it did?
Call your legislature.
No,
I don't think it did.
Yeah, here's the whole gist. If someone that in the public eye with that much of an affinity for such a topic didn't get put away with basically as that many eyes on him as it did, it doesn't feel like a productive use or at least where the law would be enforced on a consistent basis. I'm sure that there are examples of someone probably getting taken to task. I know Digi tried to say, well, such and such was a coward and he took a plea deal, and that's a whole long argument there.
I have a question, actually. Is Lolicon federally illegal, or is it a state thing?
So we'll get back to Step's thing. Well, Toon wasn't thrown in jail yet. Yeah, I understand that. Nor is Kiro. And oddly enough, Snake Thing is not thrown in jail despite molesting two of his people, allegedly. Allegedly, we have to keep putting that in there. Not that he has any fucking money, but
it kind of pisses me off. Just a lot of people. There's a bunch of fucking evidence against them, and nothing.
For the federal issue, again, as I understand it, not a legal authority, you're looking to what Tommy C called the obscenity laws, which, again, is a long, messy thing, which necessarily I don't think that even all the judges necessarily agree on. What constitutes art? Again, as art as I understand it is a piece of medium that has an infect and a pact to inspire you, which, on those loosest terms, theoretically everything counts as art. And if everything counts as art, nothing counts as art, so I'm the wrong person to ask.
Understand. No, I was asking because I was going to say if it's federal, I can look that up, and if it's state by state, I can look up what state he's in.
I see Step's point about states' rights being a good idea, because at least even if you manage to fuck your state into the ground, hi California, you can only affect.
Fuck you know about California.
I'm more on the rocky side of things. Shout out. So yeah, all right, yeah.
But what is the state that Digibro lives in?
I forgot. I think he's in the middle of moving, so it's not even really, worth. He'll mention it again. He has a big mouth.
Okay.
So yeah, he's been places where it was legal, then illegal, then I think he was back there illegal again. He claimed he didn't have any, which I guess is potentially possible. Again, for the police to check your stuff, they have to have it sent off to an FBI lab, and they claim that it takes a couple $1,000s to do that. So they're probably not cost effective. Now, when Step mentions Toon Critic not getting sent away, from what I had heard from that creepy reading is, they wanted the charges to be big enough,
Think actually he had the same issue I had when I talked to the police about Headlong, is because she was from not in the country or states, and she didn't meet up with him offline, even if there were plans to, that there were no actual things done, and because she did not send him pornography, and he did not receive it, there was a bunch of shit that the police told me when I was talking to them about Headlong, that were because Headlong is basically what Toon Critic did. The only reason that they really took it serious is because that one kid who told us they met up offline. But I would assume the child refused to talk or give any information, judging by the fact he's still around.
Oh, the Headlong thing? Yeah, no, I assumed Twilight Star didn't do anything about that. Not that it's Twilight Star's fault. Again, Twilight,
no,
if you...
not Twilight Star, the kid who came to us defending Headlong and then told you he wanted identification before the anything, and turns out the kid wasn't even legal in their state.
Was that the one where I wound up screwing up and giving out too much information during the pod?
Yeah. I don't think he said their name, but I think I talked to them in private.
Yeah, look, nobody was angry at them, but I could see why they were pissed off at me, but I wasn't intending to fucking cause them any discomfort. But yeah, I do drop the ball occasionally, as you guys might know.
I understand that. The police were phenomenal during that, I have to say. That was the one investigation during all of this bullshit that I'm very proud of what the law enforcement...
I don't want to go police the Dragon Ball community. I like that show. Wow, I just realized how ignorant that came coming out of my mouth.
But that's a show I like. I just want... Can't I enjoy anything anymore?
Yeah, I want to be able to go to a fandom and just sit there and be a loaf. I think that would be fun. Just occasionally.
Oh, that's crazy. Like, no, someone will come in and be like, Anthony, did you hear about the drama? And you'll be like, oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Goku's cool, man.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything.
He's not black. You know the line.
I think you showed me Dragon Ball Z abridged.
Yeah, the first one's the funniest one, I think.
Oh, that's a really good abridged
trip. That was a drug trip. Holy shit!
Is there a cause that it pedo?
You showed it to me last time.
I only really know freaking goddamn DBZ abridged Matsuko, who's also part of DBZ abridged and the Cell Versus series, which is really fucking fun. Yeah.
Those are both funny. I love both of those shows.
Where isn't there a pedo that's fucking these days? Let's see. A place that doesn't have pedophilia. How prevalent are they on Blizzard's fucking goddamn,
I mean, I wouldn't say any video game of any kind is safe.
I don't hear about it in WoW, but then again, I don't really follow WoW.
Yeah, I don't. I very much doubt that, dude. I'm trying to.
Well, if you can't get away with saying the N-word, I would hope that they'd be able to zero in on someone hitting on a kid and fucking goddamn, speak.
One would hope, but really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would hope there's I'm in Steven Universe, and then again I don't go looking for it, but I haven't heard of any pedophilia in Steven Universe. The most I've heard is just SJWs with SJWs.
Well, if you want to, not that I would. But if you want to count younger characters, isn't there a fair amount of that drawn artwork over in SU?
Well, they're not sexual. I don't know. I've never heard of like a pedophilia issue in.
I'm just about to say. So if I went to Rule 34 and typed in Steven Universe, I'm gonna get.
Oh, please no.
Yeah, no, I'm totally not gonna do that. But I'm gonna.
My stomach was already that. Oh God, the art is ugly. That is a fat kid. I want to die.
Rebecca Sugar and her soy boy army.
Yeah, my stomach just started fucking hurting again. That's awful.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I haven't heard anything bad from the fans of or was it Tangled or whatever. So, but then again,
Tangled, yeah.
I haven't
Well,
kept
isn't
up with that
it-
fandom at all. I just watched the show, which I've enjoyed immensely. I thought it was fucking great.
Well, in the movie, they made it a point to say it was her 18th birthday, so it
Okay.
wouldn't even be.
You look hot, like that bitch.
She's
from
adult.
Tangled.
She's legal.
Keyword, because for every
You-
exposed pedophile out there, five that
Actually-
just pull an image and chokes their chicken. So
But
yes,
I think that she's one of the few legal Disney princesses, because like every Disney princess from back way when was like 16, 13, 14, 15.
Yeah.
Snow White was the youngest, like 12, 13 years old.
From generic lollies to actual characters. If this stuff didn't ugh.
there's a whole other bunch of issues with Pocahontas, but that's more the historical thing, which I don't feel like we're getting
Well,
into.
right now, what was
Yeah,
that?
no,
What was that
That's-
Atari
I
game
learned-
called Custer's Revenge? What was that one called?
God.
I'm not
Oh
left.
god, I learned about Pocahontas when I was in like the first. Actually, this is a funny story, you guys. Like,
You want
so I was-
problematic things there, spoken mind. Look up the original story of Snow White. Didn't she wind
Oh,
up
I've heard
getting
that.
taken in her sleep, so to speak?
Yeah, no, that was. I've heard things.
Fairy tales are interesting things, I suppose. I'm not going to
And
be dumb
I,
enough to call them fascinating like some people talk.
Yeah, I know that one.
Fascinating.
God.
We're using. I gotta say, you sound a lot better today, Buttons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten yet today, so I haven't puked yet today.
Say no.
Eating food.
Well, you know,
Wow.
in D&D, Stepius, a sleep is consenting. My friend Frank used to say that.
Oh Jesus Christ.
So that you don't get a will save if you're asleep, so therefore it's willing.
Uh,
But then again, he was
I
the same
think
guy.
He's a bad. Like, I could just leaving the game, just in the car. No, man, I think he's a bastard. Well, dude, whatever. Sleep is willing. Fuck that guy.
No,
Yeah,
Frank.
fuck
Frank is the same
that.
one who sat there and said, "Have you ever realized what again, Frank's dead.
Oh,
Have you ever realized the investment in Elven Child is?" And I was like, "Oh God."
how much elf blood can we get out of them? Yeah.
No.
that's good.
The whole idea is that they stay children longer.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, that's fucking horrifying." Be glad they didn't go into that even in the BOVD. Anyways,
That DM is a bastard. I know it.
he snored, so it sounded like "go all right." Okay, that's horrifying. Step. Jeez.
Stop.
It's not kidnapping if she's asleep. Okay.
I'm reaming.
Well, there's a question.
I thought it wasn't kidnapping if she was awake.
Yeah, let's suppose that if she was asleep and someone kidnapped her, and then you broke in to rescue her. If she's still asleep, aren't you still kidnapping her? I mean, she hasn't consented either way. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I would
Say
assume
I
someone
found out I'm
knows
the
she'd be okay with
baby.
it. Like if it's her mom or dad or like a sibling or cousin or
we're-
friend or
We're being pedantic again. Jesus Christ. I feel like, is there any other kind of fucking areas to debate on the whole Lolicon thing since we? You know what? I'm gonna give a little listen here from fucking Sargon's fucking pod. Here, I'll throw the link in. I'm at about 4:37, and then we can make a little debate from there.
would you put it in post your videos?
I put it in voice text. There we go.
Oh.
But since we're on Discord and not Skype, I can't share it. And I'll give this about 30 seconds or so.
Directly correlated
that
with
does
the impact of
kinda-
violent, like shooters, for example. And if a politician then came out with policy to say, okay, we have the correlation. These violent games cause more violence. We should then censor them. I would still be fundamentally opposed to that legislation.
So, yeah, the argument that a Louis Laval makes a remark here that says even if you could prove a causation of a politician saying that a violent shooter caused violence, he'd be against it. There isn't really... Is there?
Video games?
Yeah.
The video games argument?
Yeah.
No, I forget what movie. I don't know. If I don't pull that trigger on that imaginary gun 2 times a day, 200 times a day, who knows what could happen? Like, no, let's like. I know that the gamer argument against that. It's like, no, it's better to shoot guns virtually than in real world. Like, I doubt there's been any proven. It's such a funny argument if you think about like the two killing versus video games. But I don't think there. I think like everyone proved Tipper Gore was full of shit on that. Yeah,
I think so.
All right, we'll give it another peek here. So if we can get to this, and
someone's Icarus the Fox kid said the violated while the sleep princess you were thinking of is Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
It would be on multiple grounds, but most of all, I would be basing it on the fact that, again, I find censorship of art to be immoral.
Okay, so I'm of the opinion that there can be things that I find immoral that do not have to be illegal.
Well, the problem with art is that okay, fine.
My position. I'm going to build on this. I just want to see.
Go ahead.
Do you agree or disagree, or I mean, that's obviously something we can agree.
Well, his whole point is that he's currently, or Sargon's making a point, is that there are things that can be art that I don't morally agree with. I don't know if I've ever asked myself that question. I would need an example. Can anyone think of one in the call?
I mean, there's people who draw art of murder all the time, and
have you
all the time?
Yeah, here, let's ask you.
They do murders.
Well, hold it. Let me ask Buttons this question. This is gonna be loaded, so be ready for it. Has there been something that you morally didn't agree with that you intrinsically understood to be art? That this has a value, this is worth perceiving, but I morally object to it.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah,
I honestly can't. Most of the shit I'm morally against, I'm
not like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I would imagine.
I mean, I guess I'm not really one for drugs, but there's been funny episodes of Family Guy that have to do with drugs.
I'm trying to think.
Would you? Okay, well, here's my question about the Buttons. If you had the powers to be, if you were a politician, would you attempt to remove satire of like drugs from like TV shows, like Family Guy?
If there were statistics showing it was raising people who were abusing and dying of drugs, yes. But if there was nothing
to what percent?
Let's say like if there was like a 90 or let's say a 30 to 50% increase in the population.
So if drug use showed a spike in 20%, just 20%.
No, 30 to 50.
30 to 50. 30. Okay, that's certainly 30%. Yeah, that's certainly worth something.
A third of people started. Yeah, that's you're giving yourself a pretty big pad. That's a third of people, pretty much.
Yeah, I'd certainly say that that's something worth talking about. Let's look at it this way, Step. If someone didn't call for it to be banned at that point, it would be concerning. I'm not saying that I would agree with it, but I feel that it's a stance worth taking. It's certainly worth something worth debating. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too milquetoast again. Yeah. Okay. No stop. No joke. Policing is always a bad idea. What are you doing?
Actually, Fire Pet Fox gave me a good one of taxidermy. I don't like dead animals. I don't like seeing torture, but people make taxidermy all the time.
Can you have you seen something in that where you could understand that there was an art form into this?
Definitely.
Yeah, I would yeah. So, man, there was this guy. He ran the shop across the street from the hydro shop, and he sold big game rifles, and he would always show like and another thing he did was he had all of the photos of his taxidermy stuff at his home hanging up at his shop, and he had like giraffes that he had killed and stuffed, and I was like, that is incredible to look at that giraffe pelt mounted in that very lifelike way, but I get there is definitely an artisan quality to taxidermy, but that's like
Right.
Well, you could say the same thing about.
So, like,
you could say the same thing about morticians. There's
if
certainly
someone didn't like, if someone didn't like, prepared funerals, or no, let's even just go like, let's say you thought, well, no, let's say you were a teetotaler and you just thought that drinking was bad, and you got tired of all these wineries and beer people giving each other these awards for this thing. And, you know, they were always congratulating each other for the art and the craft that they put into these things. And you would just be like, oh, I could see how that could morally offend someone. All right.
Yeah, when I was younger, I was very against alcohol, highly against it, just because of, you know, alcohol and how I saw it affected people's lives around me. I didn't understand that. I didn't understand you can just drink and not go overboard with it, and I had to learn that as an adult.
Someone can anyway. I don't know.
Okay, let's go back. I wanted to get back to the video here because he actually got on a roll.
Repeat yourself.
There are things that I find immoral that should not necessarily be illegal.
Sure.
Right. And I agree with you that coming from a sort of liberal perspective, through a liberal lens, I am also concerned about the censorship of arts, and I'm concerned who's doing the censorship, to what extent it goes. I don't think it's just black or white. I think there is a gradient of it. And I think with any kind of ideology, you have to make sure that you are also grounding the ideology in the real world. Because otherwise, you end up with effects that you don't expect, because you are wishing for a certain thing to be true, rather than actually paying attention to what is true.
You might need to say that a different way, because I'm not sure I'm following.
Right, okay. So, the arguing for a principle is always arguing for the best possible case scenario.
Okay, I kind of get that now. That's actually pretty well argued, where he makes the remark that, for everyone in the call who might not have heard that, arguing for a principle is arguing for the best case scenario. As in, like, for example...
In a perfect world.
Yeah, where Digi's making his argument here. How much of this, either pro or against, is actual practical application? I'd have to claim a level of ignorance on that. I understand that there's certainly been people that you guys have looked into. When I say you guys, whoever's actually talked to, like, for example, I know Step's probably been around some people that have done it. I've definitely talked to people who've claimed, but I don't feel that it's probably 1v1. I could be wrong. It's certainly been known to happen. I would be reluctant to blast an entire group of people just because that there's some really disturbing outliers, I suppose. Not that I haven't ever done it. I've certainly gotten frustrated and pissed off enough with people. And if people got frustrated and pissed off enough with people who follow
Damn these furries.
Yes, damn these furries, these bronies, these gamers. Yeah, no, it's certainly happened. I can see where people would be absolutely, and you know, Lolicons obviously aren't people who do themselves any favors. A lot of them have grating personalities, especially the people who show up to have these big giant discussions come off as grating and what have you. But yeah, that's
come
just
off as ageist.
Yeah.
That's another thing I've had a problem with Lolicons, is every time you try to argue, well, why do you look at this content other than the fact it's a child having... They would immediately dodge the question, or they would just try to say, I'm wrong, you don't understand. Say anything other... They would never try to back the point, it's not because it's a child and it's sexual. That's why my stance is the way it is.
Well, typically... Digi's point was it's just a drawing, and my counter argument, which I remember, I think it was Sheldon, where he's like, if you're looking at a motorcycle, you're picturing like a motorcycle. If you're looking at someone being stabbed on screen, and he's like, no, it's not. It's like, no, yeah, if you're fantasizing about gutting somebody, I'd certainly say that that's something relevant there. That's something that you should have to unpack or at least take into consideration.
Reason when there are children in high school, they police their artwork is because if they find something of a child drawing something and wanting to hurt themselves for others, it's because children are a dark mindset at that time. I get them professional help for that.
Right, but like, you know, the art teacher being concerned about the student, like, oh, I'm looking for signs of abuse or a possible a possible
No,
school
well,
shooter. Like
it's
that's
not
I
even.
think that's the same thing as
It's not. It's no. That's not what I'm saying.
we caught a lolly
It's
ring
not
at
even-
Coolsville, California
That's
high
not
school.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You might be onto
It's not
something,
just the art
though.
teacher. Well, it's not just the art teacher. Like, if there was a teacher of any class,
Right,
and I've had
get
friends.
that.
Well, can you not interrupt for a minute?
Okay.
Go ahead.
There would be children who would draw, not even hurting others, with like things that would like depict suicidal ideation or something, and that would be concerning because 9 times out of 10, the reason they draw that is because they are having the thought, "I want to do this in real life to myself."
I'd argue that's preparing for the worst case scenario.
Right, I would say
No,
that schools are supposed to look for signs of abuse or a sad, a suicidal kid or a potential school shooter.
Yeah,
like schools are, teachers are trained to look out.
Yeah, no, Buttons, I used to draw guns all the damn time. I guess today I would be in all kinds of trouble. They'd be staring a hole in me.
It's not just drawing guns. It's if a child would draw themselves or like draw something depicting suicidalness, like wanting to hang themselves or take pills.
All right. You know what?
And then not even 9 times out of 10. Every time a child would be sent to the guidance counselor or something, they would have to go to the mental hospital because they actually were having those thoughts.
Is lolly a cry for help? Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that's. I would need some examples of that other than just someone going, "Trust me on that."
Well, you know what? No, even hateful was like, I think lolly might just be a cry for help. So I mean, we are getting another. Okay, maybe it is. Maybe lolly is a cry for help. I don't know.
Yeah, let me just continue here for the video.
In effect, yes.
It has to be, hasn't it? It's the ideal.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to trap you. I'm genuinely trying to lay out.
No, and I don't think you are either. I'm just trying to understand.
Oh right, sorry. Yeah, okay. So you're always arguing for an ideal, and I think that we can all agree that we're never actually going to meet the ideal.
Sure.
Right. So we accept that we live in a fallible world, and that there are always going to be actual restrictions in practice as to what we would like to see the principle be realized as. And so the goal for a sort of the reasonable liberal is the way I guess I think of it, is to get as close to the principle without fucking up other things on the way, right?
Sure.
Okay, so that sounds pretty reasonable. So when he's talking about what I would imagine is practical application is to try and get as close to the principle without fucking up along the way. Yeah, there's going to be a bit of contradiction at times when you're dealing with practical application. It's called being pragmatic versus being I guess the term isn't altruistic. Not being too altruistic basically means where you're trying to do things to the best of you're coming from good intentions. You're
sticking to your guns. Yeah, you know what's right, and that's what's going to make you. That's what's going to motivate you here.
Pragmatic means I'm going to do this because it works.
Path of least resistance. Like there's going to be this will get the least skin, knees, and hurt feelings if I go this route. Essentially.
Yes. Whether it's
will be damage though.
Yes, that's been known to happen. Ideally, there's what we'd like to be able to do, and there's what works. It's for example when I've talked to you about certain people like Fallen Wish or Ryu or something like that. I know what pragmatically works in these sort of situations. Altruistically, everybody likes a happy ending. Everybody would like to be able to go through a situation with someone and going, okay, I did everything that was right to the best of my abilities. Now, we could talk about how I handled, for example, the Minhart situation. I feel pragmatically, I felt that I still made the right idea. I won't go into everything specifically there, but I've heard things that made me feel, even after the fact, that I made the right decision. And people could stare at me all the hell they want. But again, they've got their money. We'll see how that goes from there. I know that they're still where they were. I still feel comfortable in my choice. Pragmatically, I guess the altruistic idea here is that, you're trying to if you're really arguing for Lolicon, is that you're from the standpoint of freedom of expression, that basically you're not limiting someone's ability to create a form of art. I don't see how. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I might even surrender that is possible, that you could make an art that would have an impression, that might even have a good impression. But there's so many other ways of doing it. Why bother? You're not putting a stifling amount of a filter by limiting that. But at the same time, I'm not going to be the person who sits there and tries to sway each and every individual person to come to the same conclusion I have. It'd be like I might as well be trying to preach religion to someone. That's why I'm not going to put the time and effort in, because people believe what they have. Whether it's from self-interest or their own interests of their friends and their loved ones. And I suggest that other people who do are going to be swimming uphill. You're very desperately, if you go up to someone, for example, and be like, I can't believe you're friends with Digi, bro. You don't know the full extent and the time and effort that person has to become that person's friend, that the connections that they've had. And just sit there and try and make a correlation. Well, he does enough things that are enough like a pedophile. If that's your start to argument, it's going to start to feel like you're stretching things. You're attempting to take a square peg into a round hole.
I understand that position. I have been not on that area when people like fucking I would be in chat rooms and someone would be like, "Oh, have you seen this video? Or are you like this person's friend?" I'm like, "Listen, it's not." I do understand that to an extent of what it feels like to get shit for being someone's friend when you're just. So I can understand that. Maybe I did come off as a bit of an ass with that one.
Yeah, and now alternatively, where you have more of a 1v1 correlation, like say in Flufflepuff's case, or it's another one, Tunes, where you're actually is Bayfish doing? Actually... Yeah. Let's split the difference on this one. As much as I am not a Bayfish fan, as much as I'm not a Flufflepuff fan, is Bayfish's support of Flufflepuff making him a worse person? It's unfortunate, and I don't agree that he had the leg up of being able to influence Bayfish since she was 15. I'm not sure I would feel comfortable saying grooming since she's now an adult. He's certainly you could certainly say he poisoned the well. He rigged the game.
Technically, you could say that because she's 18, he groomed her while she was a child too when she's 18.
I feel comfortable saying he did things that were outside the bounds of what legally would have been allowed to give himself a favorable outcome. I feel that at best, he certainly didn't play within the guidelines of what probably is respected by society. If I'm wrong about that, anyone can comment down below.
I would be shocked if she was telling the truth about her parents allowing them.
I'm not for some dumb reason.
No, I've met her, dude. I'm not shocked about that at all. The way she is, that comes as no surprise to me.
I guess the question I would have for Bayfish, which I probably already know the answer to, is would you allow your 15-year-old daughter to go with somebody, an older gentleman like Mike or Flufflepuffs at her age? I think she would. I think she would, not because she would necessarily think it's the right idea, because so she wouldn't want to have to fucking throw the guy that she's with under the bus.
Right, to assuage her own guilt around the whole situation.
Yeah,
and the cycle continues, and the cycle continues.
Yeah, you could, if anyone were paying attention right now to the 15 watchers, someone's like, "Well, Anthony, that's consistency." I was like, I suppose it is, and maybe I just have a bug up my ass.
Do you know? I think it would be
vicious cycles tend to be consistent.
Go ahead.
If someone is close to that person, 1v1, like I was with Headlong, would someone have a right to draw someone as a friend or someone they know if they found something out, like Lolicon, and then they found out other shit with it?
Using the power of hindsight, I mean, look, if you ditched him because you didn't, like, here's the whole thing. You're free to hang out with whoever the hell you want. You could stop being someone's friend the minute you find out they're gay. You can do that. You don't have to stay someone's friend. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, but gay people are fabulous.
Indeed. Hello, Panzer.
Hello.
Indeed. Yeah. You could choose to stop being someone's friend for the most benign or stupid reasons whatsoever. I didn't like his shirt that day. That was the breaking point.
I agree on that one. If somebody around me wears a goddamn salmon shirt with like pants that aren't even
I swear to God, if
that friendship.
Yeah. If I go to someone's house and I see they have those filthy rocker style light switches, it's
no, please.
Toggles. Just don't let me sit. Like, I'm a toggle switch man, and that's who I am. It's what I believe in.
Okay.
It does. I guess I'm looking back on everything, and I should have seen what was gonna happen.
I asked Sheldon this about Dark Age, where I was like, should we have been aware just because he was writing all those creepy fan fictions? And he's like, I forgot what it was exactly, but he's like, you can't 1v1 guess that. He might have just been doing it because he was being edgy. Maybe it wasn't a warning sign. You're going to second guess that. Not everyone who draws like weird, gory, fucked up fan fiction is going to turn out to be a child-eating predator.
Wait, what?
So Dark Age, Foul, used to write fan fictions where, like, you know, the CMC, there'd be like necrophilia and pedophilia in there. I remember Sheldon was looking up fucked up fan fictions to read off for his podcast, and he's like, "This is written by Dark Edge. This is foul. I can't even finish this." And we went and told Foul, and I was like, "Hey, your fan fiction freaked the shit out of Sheldon." He was all proud. I was like, "It's funny." And that's all I thought. I was like, we know a guy who's more fucked up than the head leader of the Pony Fuckcast. Take a bow, Foul. That's all we thought of it at the time. Yeah.
That man scares me.
On the one hand, that can be ironic.
Yeah, it was.
Today it's hard to judge, but like.
Yeah, it was so preposterously insane. Or I was like, he's being an edgy jagoff. His name's literally Dark Edge. I mean, you could say, well, that's a blanket catch-all save your ass term. Well, it worked.
Maybe that's why I just don't like taking chances when I see shit like this, because I remember Headlong, you know.
You're free to do that, but my point on that though is, Buttons. If you start to like getting in other people's faces where they're comfortable making that chance, you kind of come off like a dick if you start getting too pushy. And I don't mean you specifically. That's a lesson for everybody. Yeah.
I was a dick earlier.
Yeah, I was like, okay, so we're warming up towards later. Which I guess Leo has to put off, so it is what it is.
We'll get the hype going. Lolly Smackdown 2019.
What are we being hyped up for today?
We were.
It's not happening today.
Yeah, Leo was going to do a debate argument between originally he got into it with Creepy because Creepy said, I really don't give a shit about Lolicon. And Leo's like, that's the exact opposite of my standpoint. And I'm like, you're being an artist. And I'm like, no, you know. And then I was like, all right, fine, I'll debate you. Fuck it. So yeah,
So he ran a few rounds with Buttons this morning.
Yeah, I wanted.
Hateful joined, and
yeah, I feel that you have the full right to be indifferent to the topic.
They're gonna have you. Yeah, this is hentai police is serious business.
Yeah,
if you don't nail this case, they're gonna have you down age checking white poop folders in the basement.
Yeah. Here's the whole thing, Panzer. Again, if someone handed me a petition to ban, Lolly in its entirety, sure, I'll sign off. Why the fuck not? I don't care. It doesn't really particularly bother me too much one way or the other. If it seems like it's going that way as far as fucking Discord or, well, certainly not Instagram, since they can't even clean up the fucking real shit over there. But
Detective Aguilar, I'm with the hentai police. We've been investigating some Lolicon in the area.
Yeah.
This is my partner, Detective Buttons.
Go ahead.
Retarded about Instagram. They're not cleaning up their act about shit, but yet they, you know the actor Drake Bell, the guy from Drake and Josh?
No, but go ahead.
He's like an adult now. A TV show from when I was a kid called Drake and Josh. He's an adult now, and he posted a photo of himself without a shirt on, and it got removed. Not
Jesus.
rude.
Okay.
Don't no one want to see that.
Not the other shit. That was rude, but not the other shit.
So what? Don't no one want to see that?
Hello, Vero. It's been a while.
Yeah.
That's the duck.
Oh no, not the one with the
what's
beard
up,
is fucking
Doc?
OC.
The duck of death. Yes, sir.
Give 0 ducks. Yeah, 0 ducks given.
Lol.
I've just been told that I think my day couldn't get worse when I realized that that Borderlands 3 is gonna be 1 year exclusive for Epic Store. But now I got reminded of the duck person. It just got worse.
So you watch Shipping Art of the Duck Person, got it.
Good. Yeah.
No,
I've seen the character.
How do we get that kind of brand
me.
Duck, how do we get that kind of brand saturation?
All right, so just to let you know, Vero, it's your character has breasts, and Panzer over here is very gay.
Well, it's not just that. There's much more wrong with that, but yes,
boobs.
let's go with the obvious one first.
Yes.
Subs equal boobs.
All right, so I'm actually hungry and I'd like a break. I think we've done a good pod, people. Godspeed.
Wait, this is actually on record.
Podspeed.
Yeah, he was watching the stream with you insulting him. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Panzer. He said your disgust only makes me more powerful. Oh
fuck.
Panzer's like, no, I have to keep my nice guy act up. I was going to steal it away from A&Y.
No, I'm not nice of a guy enough.
You got gay characters too.
Indeed. All right.
I am too big.